What's up, gents, and welcome to my new video. Today we have another real talk, and the main purpose of this video, the main thing I wanted to go over is a losing period, change the way I look at my strategy or my model, whatever you want to call it or however I want to say it. First, let's take a look. Right now I'm in a trade. Let me just pop it up on my phone so I can show you boys. We are in EU cells right here, and I'm up some nice amounts on my accounts. Don't know if you're gonna see this, but yeah, so let's get straight into that. Okay, so the main way this losing period we had in May changed the way I look at the model is basically we had a huge lose streak. I think it was around 15 losses in a row, and I've lost half of my funding due to risking more than 0.5%. The amount that I risked 0.5% on, it stayed alive. But what I wanted to say is, let me pop a watch. New watch my friend got me for my birthday as well. Let me put it on. So how did that really change the way I look at it is I realized, okay, I'm trading London MAC with these 4 pairs, but why am I trading London MAC with these 4 pairs? I don't have any backtested data that it proves that it's the best. All I did was basically trade it because that was what was right for me. That was the time I could spend out my day to day trade, right? So I hopped onto this model and I traded only London because in the evenings I wanted to be free and just do whatever I want. And it was very good. But then I came to a question like, what if this is not even the best way to do the model? What if some other session or something else or pair is way better? You know, I don't have backtested data that proves that this is the best way I can trade my model. And then I realized that this is basically a deep hole that you can go down into. And realize that there is actually so many ways you can change your model without actually changing your model, if you get me. Like you can change the sessions, the pairs, the way you do the backend systems. You can change the backend systems to make it better for the actual trading variation and so on. And basically there's 1,000 variations you can really trade the model. Now the model, basically the way I look at this is you have a profitable model, and that is your edge over the market. But if you go deep down into the model and see these variations, see the backend systems, change them a little bit, structure them a little bit more, just test them, you can, with every single change that is slightly better, and you find out certain things and you apply to the model, you are increasing that edge over the market. So you are basically making yourself more profitable in the future if you keep doing it the way you found out is the best way to do it, okay? And after that losing streak, basically I realized I have to backtest a shit ton of data if I actually want to prove and find out what is the actual best way to trade the model. Okay, so I have to test all the pairs I currently trade and new pairs to see is there any better pairs, how these pairs perform for the last 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, whatever fits for you. I would say the minimum is like 5 years on every pair in terms of like if you want to get good and honest, like good data that proves the model is profitable and that you should use it. So yeah, that is exactly what I did. I spent the last 4 months basically just backtesting every single day for multiple hours, trying to find the best variation, and I did. I found the best variation right now for me, and now I'm basically refining down even more onto the actual backend system to make that even better, so that this backend system fits this new variation of my model, and then I'm increasing my chances of being profitable long term and me having a slightly more edge over the market. Exactly. So that's the main thing. Turn off the notifications. And yeah, it is really, you can get lost as well. You can try to change your model because you maybe think this is the best way to do it, but that's all good. But you don't have, you just have to make sure that you don't change anything that is going to change your model too much, because then all the data backtested isn't even worth it anymore. It doesn't really matter because you've changed a few key things. So if you are going to change any key things about the model, you really have to go deep down into that specific variation, and you have into that specific little change, and then make sure that that change is actually good to make on the backtested data that you collected, and you know that it's a good change to make, right? So that's basically how it changed, and I realized that I really, to be honest, got in on a very good period in the markets when the model was performing at its best, which is how I managed to come to this point in my life. But then I realized, since the losing streak was there, okay, I really have to think some things through. I really have to do backtest and see. And so the main goal you want to achieve is, if you are trading like this and this, why are you trading like this and this? Do you have data that actually supports that decision of you trading? Okay, so you have to have data that proves that the way you trade is the best way to trade. Okay, and I didn't have that, and that's why I nailed down with my friends and we correct on a shit ton of data, and then we proved that that was not the best way. Okay, so for example, the way I traded was not the best way to trade this specific model. I realized, for example, that for certain pairs, a session is really, really fucking bad. For example, it returned 15R over 7 years, and I was trading that session on that pair in live trading before I actually found this out. Obviously, now that I found that out, I removed London session from that pair, and I'm not trading the London session on that pair, for example. So that's one of the key things, and I've just realized this now, after a year of profitable trading this model, almost a year. Well, yeah, I found about this model a year ago, and profitable trading it for 6, 7, 8 months, 6, 7. So yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to go over, and just wanted to put some more perspective into you boys. It's very important to look outside of the box to be able to find these things that will actually make your life better in the long run. One more thing about you testing and then making the change and all that, you have to keep in mind that when you do make these changes, you still have to think outside the box. What I mean by that is, you can't expect that the market is going to reward you straight off. So if you make a change and now you say, okay, this is now the best way I can trade this model, and then you get an losing streak or something, you just can't say, oh, maybe it wasn't the best, oh my god, what the fuck. You have to completely understand that that is a possibility, and that most likely, once you make the switch, you will probably go on a few losses or something, and it's just the market trying to fool you off, like make you a fool, and you back away from the thing you found. You have to keep pushing it and see, and you realize, okay, the way I'm trading right now, even if I now switch and get on a losing streak, I know that it is the best way because the data says that it's the best way. I've made a short form video for Instagram about this, how finally I understood what these, I saw a couple of guys on TikTok, Instagram and all that are really big traders, how they say collect data, and then you would just say, okay, I have a model, now I collect data and it's profitable, boom, that's it. No, you collect data to be able to refine your model to the very, very best, and it sure does take time. For example, we are 5 months in on backtesting. We are backtesting like 5, 6 of us every single day for 3 to 4, 5 hours, 6 hours, depends on the day. And we are still not done. We are still not done even with the 4 main pairs in terms of just backtesting normally. Not that, and there's so many more things we have to do. So it does take time for sure, yes, but it is really, really valuable. It's the best thing you can do, to be honest. I've still not experienced a winning period on my best new variation, but I know it's going to be there, and now that I trade it, I know that this is the best way to trade it as of now, till we come up with something maybe even better in the future. It doesn't have to be like that, but I know that now this is the way I should be trading, that's why I'm trading, and I trust it completely. I don't have any of these thoughts of it not working, because I've seen it work for the past 7 years, and it's worked really, really good, so that's why I keep trading it day in, day out. And one more thing when it comes to these type of stuff, you have to understand that making these changes won't be always profitable, meaning that if you test something, it doesn't always have to turn out to be the better option than what we are doing right now. So you have to keep that in mind as well, and make sure that you understand that. and to go about it objectively. Okay, so I'm gonna test this. This is a new idea that popped in my mind. I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna see. It turns out to be better. Worse. Obviously, not implementing it. Simple as fuck. Blah. So, yeah, exactly. This is how that simple losing streak that happened changed the way I look about. I look about trading, about my model, about strategy, about backend, everything, and I'm in a process of making the best, most perfect model there is in the markets, possibly, yeah. And yeah, boys, this is basically all I wanted to say for this video. Let's see how the trade is still going. It's been 10 minutes, 2 more 5-minute candles. Nice. This is the first trade of the week, by the way. It's Tuesday. Yesterday we did not have any trades. Yeah, I'm finally starting to become at peace with this whole thing. That's it. Also, psychology about the whole thing. Once you actually do that, once you actually backtest a shit ton of data and you refine the model and you refine it even more and even more, you start to feel way more confident in the model. You are not just looking at a couple of years of data on the model. You are not just looking at me, the results of the boys, Berg, anyway, my students, whatever. You are not just taking that and believing that off of other people. You are actually seeing it for yourself, and you're actually, you know that you have the data. If we were all to disappear, you still have the data. You know that this is why you are trading the model, and that is the most important part. And you become so much more confident in what you are trading that it becomes unreal. For example, if my losing streak over the 7 years is maximum 10, I'm chilling, bro. I know that there's not a chance of me having a 20-hour loss streak, 20 trades in a row losing. It's not possible because of the data collection. There could be a slight exception, for example, an anomaly where you maybe have 7 years of data, and in those 7 years, a 10-hour losing streak did not happen, or a 10 loss streak did not happen. But then maybe in the 8th year, for example, I started from 2019 to 2025. Maybe in 2018 we had a series of losses that was more than 10 on that specific variation of the model, and that's the unexplored part. There's really not a specific amount of data that you can collect and say that is good enough. You can always do more and do better. That's why it's a process. Okay, so we cracked on for the past 4 months, really dig deep into it, and now we are at a point where we are, okay, this is really good, and now we can trust this for the upcoming future. We can switch to it and we can trade it live, and then we can start collecting even more data. Just keep it as a side quest throughout your normal day tasks. So backtest 1 hour a day, boom, and that's it. You just keep improving your model, and you are in a position where you feel pretty good about yourself because you did that, and you feel pretty good about the model because you know that you have the data to back it up, and you know that if you are on a 5, 6, 7, 8 losses in a row, you are chilling because you have the data to back it up. So yeah, that is the exact point of this video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I put some perspective onto you boys. See you in the next video, boys.